Okay, I'll do.
Oh.
Hare Krishna. Okay, go on, Mataji. Yeah, Mataji.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासाहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी ब्रह्महरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined the group and are about to join. Mataji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and we are on Canto 3 and we are doing chapter 1, but today we are having a revision or a quiz session that is conducted by you. So we are all excited about this session. Hare Krishna, over to you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much again for giving me the opportunity to do service. Again, before starting, I offer my prayers to my Guru, the lotus feet of my Guru. Without his mercy, I wouldn't have been able to do this service. I offer my prayers to the Jagat Gurus. I offer my prayers to Radha Krishna. And I offer my prayers to all the devotees. Without whose blessings and mercy, I wouldn't have been able to do this service. If there are any mistakes, Mataji's, please do correct me. So we are doing a kind of quiz today. It's not just limited to Srimad Bhagavatam. It's just a generic quiz, or rather than a quiz, it's just a kind of, I would say a dialogue, where we are looking into participation from all of us. Any reflections that we've had so far, because we've done the Bhagavad Gita. We've completed 2 whole cantos. But these are some of I'll start off with about 2 or 3 things that I've come across in the Krishna Kathas that I have done so far. And these 2 or 3 things were quite new to me, or rather, they intrigued me quite a lot when I first learned about them. And so I thought I'll just share that with you, and then I'll open it up to all of you for your reflections. If you have, if you can teach all of us something. And then I also thought, because Nityanand Trayadashi is coming up, maybe a couple of things around Lord Nityanand as well, which we can discuss together. So the first thing I thought I'd start off with, which I learned in one of the Krishna Gathas, where Prabhuji was talking about the name Bharat. And so, the Vedas, we talk about Bharatvarsh. So who is Bharatvarsh named after? So where did the name Bharatvarsh come from? And what does Bharatvarsh really refer to? What piece of land is that Bharatvarsh? Any idea? So first of all, where does Bharatvarsh, the name, come from?
Hare
So
Krishna,
the
please can you accept my obeisance, oh good Sir Prabhupada.
Yes.
The name Bharat, you correct me as well because you listen to the Katha, right? The name Bharat came from King Bharat, the son of Manu, right? Manu,
no,
no, Manu and Satrupa, and then they had two sons. They had Bharat and Uttanapad. So I don't know. Maybe okay, Kritika, you go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I thought I was not, I was muted,
No,
but
Mataji,
Mataji
yes,
can
go on.
correct us.
No, you go on, Mataji.
So the name comes from that Bharat. Bharat Varsha is Ilavatra, and we have Jambu Dvipa, which is India. And what is the other question? I may be wrong,
Yes,
right?
what is
You correct me.
Bharatvarsha? What is Bharatvarsha? Which piece of land is Bharatvarsha?
Is it you have like so? What I understand is that King Bharat, he had some people say 7 sons, some people say 9 sons, right? So what do you think? What do you think? How many sons he had?
I heard something slightly different from you, Mataji.
Okay,
Slightly different.
go
But
ahead.
you go on, Mataji. You go on.
No, you
Maybe
tell first because
I could be wrong, Mataji.
no, we can discuss on it. If you're
This is
wrong, we can go.
just a discussion.
Yeah.
Kritika Mataji, you wanted to come in as well. Thank you, Indleka Mataji. Kritika.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Bharatvarsh would be the present India and Afghanistan, all the way extending there, and then in the southeast as well. So that would be the whole of the Bharatvarsh.
Kritika, Bharatvarsh was a whole world.
Yeah.
Whole world was only Bharatvarsh. Then people started taking and they started like dividing Bharat. Whole world was named Bharat.
Yeah. But I mean, that time Europe didn't exist. It was all forest.
No. We are going to learn about, thank you so much, Indileka Mataji and Kritik Mataji. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we are going to read about all of this in Canto 5. Canto 5, yes, Mataji. In the last canto, in the last chapter, we talked about the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's just start even before I come to Bharatvarsha. So let's talk about Srimad Bhagavatam because it's all kind of linked. Why is Srimad Bhagavatam called a Mahapurana? And why are all the other Puranas called just Puranas? So what is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called a Mahapuran, and the other Puranas? I mean, first of all, how many Puranas did Vyasadeva write? Not the Upapuranas, just the main Puranas.
He wrote many, I think 18.
18 main ones, yes.
Right? And then why Bhagavatam is called the main Purana? Because the other one, Vyasadeva wrote about all the Devis and Devdas. And then he was not happy. When he was like kind of dejected, then his guru, Narad Muni, visited him. Then Narad Muni knew that why he was dejected, but asked him, what is the problem? You have written so many. Shiv Purana, Vishnu Purana, Linga Purana, Durga Purana, all these you have written, but why are you not so happy? Then Vyasadeva said, I don't know why I'm not so happy. Then Narad Muni told him that, yes, you haven't
mentioned, you have said so many Devi Devtas, and in each Puranas you have said this is the supreme, this is the supreme. So in the Kali Yuga, people will fight over it, which is happening actually. People are fighting to get the supremacy, who is the greatest. But then he told Vyasadeva to write on the supreme personality of Godhead and Krishna, that he hasn't mentioned Krishna anywhere. So that is why Srimad Bhagavatam is full of Krishna's story and his devotees.
And
And
thank you,
also,
yeah.
okay, go ahead.
No, go, Mataji. Yeah, no, thank you very much, Mataji. No, that's absolutely right. So it has talks about the law, and also, and how do we know that? Because in the last canto, in Canto 2, in the last chapter, we talked about the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, so in the other Puranas, you have the 5 topics, the first 5 topics mainly talked about. But Srimad Bhagavatam, as Indulekha Mataji says, because it talks about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it really covers the whole 10 topics, especially the last one, which is, if you remember, the most important one, Ashraya Tattva. So that is the reason which really makes Srimad Bhagavatam become the Mahapurana, as opposed to the other Puranas, which are just Puranas. So the whole 10 topics are only completely discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, whereas the other Puranas has, about 5 topics or 6 topics. But do add, Indulekha Mataji, Kirtika other Matajis, do add wherever I'm going wrong, or if there's anything, if I've missed anything. So then we come to, Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we come, so the reason I talked about is those 10 points that we talked about. The third point, if you remember, the third point was sthana, place. Yes, and that is what is discussed in Canto 5. When we go to Canto 5, we will hear about that. And that is where we will really, really understand what Bharatvarsha really is. Because, as Mataji said, so there are the higher planetary systems, okay? So we are the 7th from the topmost being Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. And then the 7th one is the Bhumandala, the whole flat Bhumandala surface. That Bhumandala was again, so Swambhava Manu, he had again Uttanapada, his brother, who took up first he became sannyas, and then he actually took, we'll go into that when we go to Canto 5. But Priyavrata, I think his name was, he divided the whole of Bhumandala into 7 islands, okay? Each of those islands separated by an ocean. And the right at the middle, the center one is Jambu Dwipa, which is surrounded by saltwater ocean. And that Jambu Dwipa was again given to one of the sons of, was it King Priyavrata? I forget his name. Yes, it was, yes, so let me just quickly check. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, it was King Priyavrata who,
wasn't it? Yeah. And
yeah.
then he gave it the center. So that Jambudvipa, that was again divided into 7 varshas, 7 different parts, each separated by rivers or mountains, and each varsha was given to a son of the the son of King Priyavrata, who took up Jambudvipa. And then the southernmost Varsha was called Bharatvarsha. And it was again ruled by one of the sons of King Priyavrata, his son. Okay, so the whole Bhumandala, first it was made into 7 islands. Then the centermost island, Jambudvipa, which has Mount Sumeru in the middle, that centermost island was again divided into 7 parts. Each part was called a Varsha. The southernmost part was called a different Varsha. However, one of the sons was again we come through descendants. One of the sons was Rishabdev, who was the Lord himself. And Rishabdev's son was, so Mataji over here, I've got a slightly different, but correct me if I'm wrong. So I thought it was Rishabdev's son who was King Bharata. And so he was such a great king that even the demigods, they changed the name of that place, that southernmost part. They changed that the name of that Varsha into Bharatvarsha. And then when King Bharat, when he went to the forest, he had, so Mataji is saying he had 9 sons. I thought it was 9 brothers, but we'll have to, maybe Mataji is right, or we'll just have to check.
Sorry, excuse me. I didn't say. I see some speakers say 9 sons, some speakers say 7 sons. So
Okay, Mataji.
we know when King Priyavrata, he had 7 sons. When he divided the whole world, he gave to his sons. Each son had 7 sons on their own. Then they divided further. And then the one that you were talking about, I think, is a great grandson of Krishna, whose name was, wait, we knew about it. Kritika, remember when we went to India together, that priest was saying, what his name was?
So there was a King Bharat too. So Bharat,
yes, then they changed his name. His name. Yes. Sorry, go ahead, please.
No, Mataji, that's fine. So that King Bharat, that after him, so he was when this is the King Bharat, who was a great king, and then he gave it to, again, his kingdom. That Bharatvarsha was divided into 9 parts. Each part was called a Khanda. Again, it's confusing. We'll get the details when we go into Canto 5, but just to put things into perspective, that southernmost that Bharatvarsha was again divided into 9 parts. Each part is called a Khanda. The southernmost Khanda is where the Earth planet is. And in that Earth planet is where India is, which we call Bharatvarsha now. But Bharatvarsha is not just India. Bharatvarsha was a lot, a lot. But we go to King Bharata. He's the one who went to the forest, and then he took birth as a deer, and then he became Jarabharat. So he had to take 3 births before returning to the spiritual world. So Bharatvarsha primarily got his name from this King Bharata. But in the Krishna Katha that I was listening to, the Prabhuji was saying, this is the primary reason Bharatvarsha is called Bharatvarsha, because of King Bharat, because even the demigods wanted to change the name of that Varsha because he ruled so splendidly. But there were also 3 other Bharats who also influenced the name of Bharatvarsha. Any guesses?
The son of Shakuntala.
Yes, Mataji, that's right.
Bharat. And then the father of Lord Ram, King Bharat. No, sorry. What was it? No, there was another Bharat. Wait.
Lord Ram's brother, right, Mataji?
Yes,
brother.
Yes. Brother, not father, brother. Thank you.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. So yes, Shakuntala and Dushyanta's son, that Bharat, who was a great king again. Lord Ram's brother, Bharat, that Bharat again. And there was one other Bharat, which is quite, quite different to the mainstream Bharats we know. So this was Rishi Bharat. He was blessed by Lord Brahma to be able to dance beautifully, dance well. And he even went to the heavenly planets to teach music and dance to the Gandharvas. And he was called Rishi Bharat, from whom the dance form Bharatnatyam comes. So this Bharat was also partly responsible. He also falls under the category of, adding to or contributing to the name of Bharatvarsha. Although primarily it was the King Bharat who later became Jara Bharat, but there were also the other three Bharats who also kind of gave their name to Bharatvarsha. So that was what I thought. I found this very, very interesting when I heard it in Krishna Katha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I
Pardon?
ask a question? Can I
Yes,
ask a question?
yes,
So, so when you divide the Varsha into 7 dvipas, each of them surrounded by, so the center one was surrounded by the salt water.
yes.
The other ones were surrounded by different, like the honey and the
Yeah,
ghee and
liquor,
milk.
yogurt. Yes, Mataji. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's it. But those oceans were very different too, But even the saltwater ocean, Mataji, that is surrounding the whole of Bhumandala. And the whole of Bhumandala is massive. That is very different to the tiny bit of Earth planet we are in. Even our Earth planet has salt water, but that is different to the salt water that surrounds the whole of Bhumandala. Okay, but yes, it's just, I mean, that is the reason when we hear that pastime where Prabhupada once got a bit upset with Tamal Krishna Prabhuji. Don't know if anyone heard this pastime. So Prabhupada got upset with him for some reason. And Prabhupada said, in the whole of Bharatvarsha, in the whole of the universe, in the whole of so-and-so, in the whole of so-and-so, in the Earth planet, in America, in one part, a tiny part of Earth planet in America, in a tiny city, there is Tamal Krishna, and we have to listen to him, and he's a very important person. So Prabhupada was telling off Tamal Krishna Prabhuji and just making him know just how insignificant we are. But when we do yagnas, when the priests do yagnas, when they do yagnas to call the demigods, they have to give the very, very precise coordination, because there are so many planets, so many universes in the material world. And then even in our universe, they have to give the very, very exact coordinate. So in Bhumandala, in Jambudipa, in Bharatvarsha, in Bharat, Khandas, Bharatvarsha, in Bharat Khanda, in the Earth planet, in Prithvi, and then in so and so. So, and then they come down to the actual gotras, which come from the rishis. So they have to call the demigods to the yagnas. I mean, of course, the primary reason, all yagnas, they all go to Vishnu, but then you also do yagnas for demigods who are also, prayed to. So to call the demigods, they need to know the exact coordinates. And that is where the priests, they have to say all of that. But if I'm going wrong anywhere, please do correct me. So the second question, which I thought I'll kind of share again, it quite intrigued me when I first heard this in our Krishna Katha. So, as we know, all the demigods, they are posts, as opposed to, they are not, they are personality, they are posts which are occupied by personalities. And they are all the heavenly planets. They are also included in the material universe. They are temporary as well. And they are not permanent. Only, during the partial annihilation, only the top 4 planets remain, but, not the heavenly planets. So when these are all posts, all the demigods, they're all posts. Why is it that we call only the sun god as Surya Narayan? Why don't we call the moon god as moon, Chandra Narayan, or any other god as Narayan? Why is it that we only call the sun god as Surya Narayan?
Yes, it was one of the questions in our class, but we didn't get an answer for it. We
Yeah,
didn't look
I did.
up.
I found out. Yeah, do you remember? I was asking Prabhuji, but
Yeah.
it kept, I kept asking for it. And then I finally got the answer, and I thought I'd share that with you. I don't know. Indulekha Mataji might know, or any other. No.
Hare Krishna, sorry, I was taken away for some reason. Why do we say Surya Narayan?
Yes, Mataji.
I'm not sure, but all I know is that Surya and Chandra, they are both the eyes of the Lord, the 2 eyes of the Lord, right? Why do we call Surya Narayan? I'm not sure. Please,
No
you go
worries,
ahead.
Mataji. Thank you. I think Gayatri Mataji knows probably.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I don't know, but I'm just guessing, Mataji. It's just a guesswork. Sorry, but
No,
I'm just thinking because Lord, because the sun god has his own he is illumined by Narayana directly, by Krishna directly. So, but the moon is not illumined. He is just the reflection of the sun god, I guess. But I'm not sure. I'm just thinking.
No, very, very close, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you to both of you, Matajis.
Thank
I mean, again, this was explained to me by Vishal Prabhu over here, and he said, like when the various posts, they are given to great personalities, and the Lord chooses that, because he wants to be absolutely sure that these tasks are performed perfectly, because these tasks really have to be perfectly done, right to the last. All the T's need to be all the I's need to be dotted, T's needs to be struck. So they really need to be done properly. So the Lord, if he does not find a proper personality who's eligible to perform that function, he himself expands to take that role for that particular, that kalpa or that whole yuga. So he takes that position. And this time in our kalpa, he took up the position of, he expanded as the sun god. And so that is the reason we say it's the sun, it's the Lord providing the sun's rays, because it's the Lord's expansion who has taken up this position, because he didn't find someone to take up the position of the sun for this kalpa. Yes, Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So why do we, I don't know, I don't say that, I don't believe in it, but people say Daridra Narayan. How can Narayan be Daridra when Lakshmi Sahasra, Lakshmi is taking care of Narayan? How come he becomes Daridra? Do you know about it? Please.
No, Mataji, I didn't know that. Daridra Narayan.
You heard about it, Daridra Narayan, people say Daridra Narayan.
Yeah, yes, but I can, yeah, maybe I'll ask a senior devotee. That's a very good question, Mataji. Yeah, perhaps
Yes,
for our next quiz session. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you were talking about how when the priest when they do the yajna, how they mention all the varsha, the khandas and all. So I have a copy here. If you want, I can say 2-3 lines.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we'll say Ashya Sri Bhagavato Mahapurushasya Vishnur Agyaya प्रभवर्तमाने अद्य ब्रह्मान् द्वितीपरार्धः श्रीश्वेतावरः कल्पे विश्वस्वतमन्वन्तरे कलियुगे प्रथमे पादे जम्बूद्वीपे भरतवर्षे भरतखण्डे Meroh. Meroh is a mountain in the middle,
Mount
right?
Meru. Yeah.
Dakshine Paswe Dandakaranya Asmin Vartamananam, and then the Vyavadikaranam Prabhavadi Shashti Samvatsaranam. So this is what the first thing they will attest. This is the first prayer.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's a perfect example, isn't it, Mataji? Perfect
Yeah,
example
that's
how
and
they
then they will go down. They will go down. They will talk about the Tithi, about the moon, about the stars, about everything. They will tell you, and then they will start. And then the person's name, the person, what do you say? They're from which Gaudiya must they are from
which Sampradaya,
all these
Gotra. Yes, Mataji. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so my third question is around the demons. So who is the first demon of the universe, of our universe? Who was the first demon? There are so many demons in Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam. We see Krishna killing so many demons. So who was the first demon of our entire universe?
Was it Hiranyaksha?
It was Hiranyaksha. Yes, Mataji. Yes, that's brilliant. Yes. So they had given 4 choices, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Rahu, and Ketu, but it was Hiranyaksha. Yes. The next one is Bhagavad Gita. In which chapter of Mahabharata can we find the Bhagavad Gita in? So we know it's part of Mahabharata, but where do we find Bhagavad Gita? Which parva do we remember when we did the Bhagavad Gita? No? So it was in the, Indulekha Mataji here.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Sorry, no, because I saw you unmuted, so I thought you were going to,
No, I am unmuted.
No, it is in the, yes, Dennis Prabhu.
Bhishma Parva.
Yes, very good. Yes, it is in the Bhishma Parva. That's right. Yes, well done. Yeah. Okay. Right. So we go over to number 5. So in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say to Arjuna that, what comes out of unfulfilled desires? And I chose this question because it is so much linked to what we've been doing in Srimad Bhagavatam as well. We've been talking about our desires and, how that affects us, how that gives rise to so many things, So what does Krishna say? As we know, the Srimad Bhagavatam it's like it's an explanation of Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives the actual instructions, and Srimad Bhagavatam is like the explanations to those instructions. What do you call it? The manual, the manuals that comes with the machines. So the instructions that come with the machines, the instructions are there. Rather, if you buy a machine, to be able to operate the machine, you need to go through the manual. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has given us how to live in a proper way. So he has given us the structure, the truth, the absolute truth. But how do we do that? The explanations through the manual is given through Srimad Bhagavatam, through the various pastimes, through the various examples. So why does, when we read the pastimes, we see so many times this word desire coming up. So right at the beginning, Krishna dealt with this. Even in chapter 2, when just after, Arjuna was talking about, he was moaning about not wanting to fight. And then when he surrenders to Krishna, Krishna deals with desire. And what does Krishna say? What comes out of unfulfilled desires? Why is it dangerous?
Anger.
Exactly. And what happens if, what gives rise from, what comes from anger?
When
Mataji,
somebody
can other people like Mugo and Indusa, they all teach Bhagavad Gita, so can they
yes,
get a
please
chance
go
to
ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, please, yeah. So, Indusa
then
Mataji,
They can just wave their hand up, and then we will give them opportunity. If they don't know, then we'll try. Okay, go ahead. So let me complete with this one.
So I'll ask, yes. So let's just say, so what is born from unfulfilled desires? So we know it's anger. Yes.
Anger.
Let's start with if anybody else can tell me, what are the 6 sins, the cardinal sins that Krishna talks about? And I'll give you a clue. It starts with calm, or it starts with lust. Can anyone fill in the rest, please? If you
Hare
can put
Krishna,
that down.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Yeah, this must be Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya.
That's it,
Is
Mataji.
that
Thank
right?
you. Can
Okay.
can anyone give me the English of that?
I'm sure Dennis Prabhu or Indusa Mataji can do it.
Yes, karma, that is desire or lust. Krodha, that is anger, and greed. We have moha, that is attachment or bad attachments, and then we have ego, the false ego that we have, and also envy, being envious of Krishna.
Yes. So envy is the worst, isn't it? It's just right. They say that all the rest together, that gives rise to, envy, because, and it's called the worst because we all defected from the spiritual world and came to the material world because initially we were all envious of Krishna. So that's the worst. But anger is anger is almost as bad as envy. Because what comes out of anger? What does Krishna say after that? In the next verse, what does Krishna say? What does anger give rise to? Does anyone remember?
Complete
Yes, sorry,
delusion.
Mataji. Yes, pardon?
Complete delusion.
Very good, exactly, Mataji. Thank you so much. Would you like to further explain in what way? In what way is it, what happens when there's delusion?
I mean, when you are deluded, you are blocked from distinguishing what is right and wrong.
Yes, great. That's one thing. Excellent. That's what Krishna says. There's something else that Krishna says as well. What happens because of delusion? So one is if you're deluded, you lose the power or the intelligence to choose what is right and what is wrong, to differentiate between the right and the wrong. What also happens? One forgets. One forgets what's happened in the past. Maybe, you've done something, you've seen something has already happened. That has happened in the past. Okay. And the same thing is being repeated again. And the same mistakes, the same thing is being done. However, if one is deluded, they lose that past memory that nothing good came out of this. They forget that. They forget that, nothing good came out of this thing.
They lose the power of discrimination.
Yes, exactly. And they can't do that. They are unable to discriminate. They're unable to remember. So they lose that. And that, that all arises from delusion. So It's so very dangerous to do that. So no, thank you very much for that. So we're only left with about 15 minutes. So maybe anything else? I mean, I thought the last 10 minutes we can talk a little bit about Nityanand Prabhu, because Nityanand Trayadashi is coming up. But for the next 5 minutes, does anyone else have any other questions? So we covered right in the beginning, we covered today who is Bharatvarsha named after, and we talked about the 4 people. We talked about where exactly is Bharatvarsha, and which we will talk more about in Canto 5. And we talked about the Bhumandala and where exactly is Bharatvarsha. We talked about, who's the first demon. We talked about why is Surya called Surya Narayan. We talked about why is Bhagavad Gita, in which chapter is Bhagavad Gita, and that is Bhishma Parva. And we talked about anger and delusion and why is that so dangerous. So I have one more question, and then maybe in the last 5 minutes, if you have any other questions, and the last 10 minutes we can talk about Nityanand Prabhu. So my question is, and because Radharani is my favorite, so my question is, who really are the gopis? Who are the gopis? How would you define the gopis? Try. I mean, we all know. Yes.
The 8 primary gopis, they are the manjaris. They are like between the age of, they are like 8, 9 years old, very innocent girls, and they are the one who are in the pastime, intimate pastime of Radharani. And this is a very long story. When Putna was killing all the children, and Putna went to, I think, Himalaya, King Himalaya. He stole the 8 daughters and then 8 babies that were just born. And then when she was flying in the air, one by one they dropped, and then different gopis were, whoever got them, got the baby girl, so they called that child their daughter. And Radharani was together, so Radharani was dropped in the river Yamuna, where Vishnu was having his bath, so he got that baby, or Kritika, I think, one of them. So so that is my understanding. They participate in the very intimate pastime of Radha and Krishna. And the other gopis, they are like the petals of the lotus flower on which Radha and Krishna sit. So in the song, Vrindavana Ramyasthana, that explains who are the gopis.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, that's a lot covered. Yes, that's the main 8 Sakhi, or the main 8 gopis. Yeah. There are many gopis, and you're very right. There are so many gopis, and the gopis actually, if we study the gopis, they can be, they have different categories. So the main gopis, and then there are the special gopis, and even the special gopis, again, there are the Nitya gopis, and there are gopis who are elderly, gopis who are younger, and the girls who serve the gopis, they are called manjaris, like Rupa Goswami was Rupa Manjari. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he got in his dream, he came to know that he was he in his spiritual form, he's actually a Manjari too. So all the main Goswamis, they were said to be, most of them were said to be Manjaris who served the gopis. Now, but so the gopis, we understand they are, nobody loves Krishna as much as the gopis. But again, how would you? These are the personalities of gopis we are talking about. But if we say, who are the gopis? Now, this is again something which, when I first heard it in the Krishna Katha, I mean, I first heard it and I thought, okay, this is just a version of Krishna Katha. But then I heard several other Prabhujis say the same thing, and then I also did a bit of research on it. So we know that the gopis, we understand that it is not just the person gopis, but it is also the feeling gopi, the feeling of being able, the ability to be able to love Krishna as much as the gopis. Because in the, and where it came from, coming to you in a second, Mataji. During Ramayana, there were quite a few rishis who met Lord Ram and they wanted to serve him. And they had this intense love and devotion for Lord Ram. And Lord Ram said that, in this incarnation, I won't be able to do that. However, in my, in my next incarnation, you will be able to serve me. And so these rishis, they took birth as gopis, so many of the gopis. There were some demigods, there were gopis, so there were ordinary girls. However, what Prabhuji was explaining was that whoever took birth in the Krishna, in Dwapar Yuga, in the women form as gopis of Vrindavan, it wasn't necessary for them to be just women in their previous birth. So by gopi, we don't want to narrow it only to just the gopis of Vrindavan. However, we do that because we associate the gopis most of the time with them. However, gopi can also widely be understood as that intense love for Krishna, which is only possible by the gopis. That intense love. Now, whether it's a man or a woman in Dwapar Yuga, they were women. But in Treta Yuga, they were rishis, they were men. So sometimes so this is something we have to remember too, that although we say that the gopis are women, but we also have to keep in mind that the word gopi also means the relationship, that madhurya, that love that one has with Krishna. And that is the reason we are said to aspire, we are said to, we worship to be able to serve Krishna like the gopis, and the topmost gopi is Radharani. Why? Because we are all wanting to reach that elusive Krishna prema. And in this universe, we have people in various species, in the human form, there is the man and the woman. Now, we are not really saying that it is only the women who can really go to get Krishna prema. It is not really subjected or reduced or, only for the women. It also includes the men. And so if a man is able to love Krishna in the purest form, like a gopi, then he would also be a gopi, or he would have that feeling of a gopi. So that is something which I thought was quite interesting, that, gopi does not necessarily only limit one to the woman form, but they, in this, in the pastimes, in the leelas, we see them as men and then being born as women, but it also is that intense feeling for Krishna, which is only possible for the gopis to have. And gopis can be, already there are gopis, but one can also become a gopi through pure sadhana. So one can then, whether irrespective of whether one is a woman or a man, if they are able to do proper sadhana, it is possible to achieve that pure Krishna prema and get that feeling of gopi. Sorry if I've gone wrong anywhere. Does anyone want to add to anything to this? No?
Hare
Oh,
Krishna, that's
yes.
what I was going to tell you about the pastime of Lord Ram when all the Brahmanas were in the forest. all the
Yes.
Brahmanas, they saw Lord Ram and Mother Sita. They were thinking how beautiful. So they approached Lord Ram. And Lord Ram, they told Lord Ram that you touch the stone with your foot and you make it become a woman, like Ahilya's pastime. So they brought stone and they said, please touch the stone for us because you are having nice time with Mother Sita. So we would like to enjoy like you. And then Lord Ram said, no, in this, and they wanted to have relation with Lord Ram. Lord Ram said, no, not in this lifetime. You come in Dwarpa. So
Yes.
when I'm there. So that's
Yes.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're just left with 7 minutes. Shall we talk a little bit about Nityanand Prabhu? Okay, so first of all, Nityanand, what is the meaning? So Gauranga, Gaura Nitai. Gaura, we understand. Gaura means someone with light skin, Gaura. So what is the meaning of Nityanand?
Nitya is everyday and Anand is happiness.
Yes.
Always blissful, always blissful.
Yes, so he who embodies eternal bliss, because Lord Nityanand gives us eternal bliss. He gives us love of Godhead. So that is Nityanand. Now, what happens? I mean, right at the end, we know he was born in Ekachakra, and I know, during when we come to Lord Nityanand, Nityanand's appearance day, we'll probably be talking more about him. But what happens? How does Lord Nityanand disappear from this universe after his pastime? How does he disappear?
Oh, Lord Nityananda, I'm not sure, but when he was Balaram, I know that. For him, I'm not too sure about Lord Nityananda.
Yeah, no, I mean, even I wasn't sure, Mataji, because, we hear about the others, we hear about Lord Balram as well, but we don't hear about Lord Nityanand. So I kind of looked up, and then, so he actually merged into a deity of Krishna. And the name of that deity was Bankim Ray. So the name of that Krishna deity was Bankim Ray, and Lord Nityanand, he just merged into that deity of Krishna.
Did you know where, Mataji?
Yes, it was very, very near. It's very close to Ekachakra, we are told.
Oh, okay.
But yes, and that was the name of the, yeah. Now, does anyone know how does Lord Nityanand interact with a bird? There was a pastime where Lord Nityanand has many pastimes, but this is one of the obscure pastimes where he actually, he had a very, very nice exchange with a bird. Does anyone know that?
Nope.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, not a very pretty bird, but a crow. So I think we'll just finish with this because it's again around bird, around food. So Lord Nityanand, he was in the house of Srivas Thakur once, and Srivas Thakur's wife's name was Malini Devi. And Malini Devi had beautiful deities of the lordships, and she used to keep a bowl of ghee near the deities. And then one day, when Lord Nityanand was there as well, a crow just picked up that bowl of ghee, and then he flew away. The crow just flew away, and then, it was a nearby tree, and the crow perched up on the tree, just put that bowl of ghee on its nest. And Malini Devi started crying. She started really crying that, look, my Krishna's bowl of ghee, and, that's just such a bad omen. So Lord Nityanand said, don't worry. And so he went and and Malini Devi saw, he just walked up to the, under the tree. And then he started talking to the crow. He was talking, just bring it back. Why have you taken it up there? Just bring it back. And the crow was crowing a bit from up there. And then Lord Nityanand was saying, no, 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 I just want the bowl. You can keep the ghee. I just want the bowl. Just bring it back. And they had this exchange where Lord Nityanand was talking in Bengali. Crow was croaking in the crow language. And then after a while, the crow just brought down the ghee, the bowl and gave it to Lord Nityanand. Lord Nityanand went to took and gave it to Malini Devi. And Malini Devi, I mean, she just fainted in ecstasy because she just saw what happened in front of her eyes. And she knew that this is none but, this is all the Lord's mercy. And this is no different because Lord Nityanand is no different from the Lord. And then she also understood why, because again, people used to talk about, how Lord Nityanand is also eternal and the Lord's associate as well. They understood why Lord Nityanand would really love to play the part of Lakshman all the time. So whenever there would be plays, he would love to play the part of Lakshman all the time. He not so much Balaram, but he would love to play Lakshman. So I think that's how they also started putting two and two together. But I thought, I've heard so many pastimes of Lord Nityanand, but not him talking or conversing with a crow. So I thought, I just bring this to this discussion. So thank you very much, Matajis and Prabhujis. Is there anything else you would like to share as well before we finish today?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji. The crow,
Yeah.
people don't like the crow. People say it's bad omen when you see a crow.
Yeah.
But actually, the crow,
Yeah.
if we see in pastime of Lord Ram, the crow was, once he took the food of Lord Ram and he flew very far and Lord Ram followed him. And even today, the crow and Garuda and what is Kakabashundi, they are still narrating the story of Lord Ram.
Yes.
And also in our daily, like in our life, also crow has got a very important place. Why? Because during the Srata ceremony, when whatever we offer, the Pindadan, that the crow take to the Pitriloka. Because crow is a vehicle, is a vahan of Aryama. And Aryama was Lord Krishna himself who replaced Yamraj when Yamraj was Vijpura in this material
one of the
world.
Adityas, yes.
So when we offer and then we have to feed the crows and the cows. So the crow has got very, very special part to play in our life also.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that. That's you're right. It's thought to be an omen, but it's actually not. Yes, yeah. No, thank you very much. I thought that was, really, really nice. Thank Mataji.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi went away. I missed out. If you can kindly repeat. I heard till Nityanand's pastime of him talking to the crow, and the crow got the bowl back, and then Malini Devi, she fainted, and then I missed everything
Fainted in ecstasy. I think after that, Indulekha Mataji was saying, Indulekha Mataji, I don't know if you want to share that again. She was explaining how the crow is really not a bad omen because, the crow plays a very big part in our Shastras. So, Indulekha Mataji, over to you.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, I was talking about the crow when Lord Ram was very young and he was playing with the crow. And actually, it is said that the crow and Garuda, one of them is Lord Shiva, and one of them is the incarnation like he just wanted to see the pastime of the Lord. And the crow, he stole the food of Lord Ram and he was flying very high, and Lord Ram followed him, crying after him. So people were saying, Lord, he's God. And some people would say he's God and he's crying after food. Like he's God, he cries after Mother Sita and the forest. So the crow here has a very meaningful. Here is very meaningful for us because also the crow is the Vahan, the vehicle of Aryama. Aryama, who is Krishna himself, who replaced Yamraj when Yamraj was doing his pastime as Vidura. And so when we do the Srat ceremony, we have to feed the crows because whatever the pindadan that we do, whatever we offer, the crows, through the crows, it goes to our ancestors and to Pitriloka.
Thank you again, Mataji. I think Kritika
Hare
Mataji, she's dropped. Yeah. Oh, she's here. Yes. Thank you so much, Matajis and Prabhujis. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for taking part in this interactive session. We are going to be back to doing Srimad Bhagavatam tomorrow. But again, if I've made any mistakes, please do forgive me. Hare Krishna.
No, Mataji, it was very nice and it's very kind of enriching if every now and then, not every week, we come back with such question and answers and we share our own knowledge and whatever we have heard, we hear most of the time. We just copy and paste. That's what we do. We don't have any knowledge. For myself, I'm talking, I don't have any knowledge. So we have to do some research. It is very, very nice. Very
No,
nice.
you're so right. Mataji, I learned so much from all of you. Thank you so much. And I quite agree, sometimes it's nice just to be able to share. So yeah, and learn from each other. So yeah, maybe we can look into doing such reflective sessions sometimes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji. Shall we say the closing prayers? Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, Mataji, for this excellent session. Excellent idea. And we should do this more often as well. So thank you for that brilliant idea. And we can end the session. Sorry. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuvaiva
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavim ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
All glories to the
Panchali Kar
ascended
Mataji.
Panchali Kaur Mataji ki jai.
All
Eldorate
glories to the
ki
ascended
jai.
devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji,
Hare
Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna. Very
Krishna.
nice.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Kirtika Mataji.